Alright folks, in this tutorial we'll take a look at scenarios where... So we're looking at a scenario now where, let's say you already have a solid model, conventionally solid model ready to go, and then you're adding a sculpt shape to it. So for example, let's just say you've got some kind of cylinder and you're going to add some kind of, I don't know, maybe we'll say a butter knife shape to the end. You got some kind of conventional handle and you're going to do a butter knife to it. How do you combine those? So let's do this real quick. I'll first model my cylindrical handle, and there we go. We'll set it to be about, I don't know, 30, a little bit over an inch. We'll extrude it out 75, maybe 80. There we go. So we've got this conventional shape. Now the question is, what do we do to create the rest of it? And how do we make these things work together? So first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to, I can probably just create a cylinder right on it. And we'll do a cylinder from, I could probably do it from in here, but I can also do it right there. And there we go. And cylinder, because I'm pretty sure I can manipulate the cylinder fairly well to make the blade. And I hit OK. So now it's just a matter of our normal modification process. I might select this and this. By the way, I'm just holding down Control key to select multiple edges at once. If I can get this thing to let me see what I want to see. There we go. And I will do some pulling it up. I'll stretch it this way. Actually, I should probably leave that one alone. This is not going to be a very good butter knife, but that's not our point. And I'll stretch it up this way. There we go. That's not too awful bad. And maybe I will flatten this side out a little bit. Pull it in a little bit. There we go. Oh, this is a horrible knife. But that's alright. Not our point. This one, this one, this one. Flatten it out this way. Oh, that's horrible. Oh well. So anyway, we've got some kind of sculpted shape. Now another thing while I'm doing this, it's a good point to remember, is that when you're doing this work, don't get into a hurry. Just zoom in very carefully, see what edges you're grabbing before you start doing things. It usually makes your life a little bit easier. So I'm just going to flare it out there. And I don't know, maybe it's more like a spatula, who knows. So I hit finish form, and there we go. The problem is we still have a solid body and we still have a sculpture that needs to be stitched and patched. So I'm going to go ahead and see this little tool over here, see the expansion. We've got our original body. I'm going to turn it off by clicking off on the light bulb, and so I can just see my sculpted model. Now we do our normal thing of patching. So I go to patch, I click on patch, and I select the back end so that it's good. And I go to this end and I click on patch and I click that edge, and so it's now good. And then of course I stitch it. So I click on stitch, body, there's the end that doesn't work, there's the end that doesn't work. Now they're both green, and it looks like it wants to do that one at the same time. And I hit OK. Whoops, looks like I missed it wrong there. Let me try that again. There we go, patch. There we go. Okay, got it. So now it's patched and stitched. And I'm going to go back to model, and I'm going to turn my body 1 back on. The problem now though is these are two separate bodies, right? They're two different things. And so for us to be able to work together with them and do any kind of other features with them, I have to combine them. So to do that, I need to simply go up to Modify and go to Combine, select this one, select this one. Notice that they're both blue, and make sure it's set to Join and hit Join. Now the body has become one body. If I turn it off, both are gone, and we're good to go. Now if that Combine tool doesn't allow you to select the sculpture component, what you probably have a failure in is somewhere down in your patching or your stitching. Usually if it's correctly patched and stitched, then you will be able to combine it without any problem. But if there's an error in the combine, you can only select one or the other, something's wrong with your form, go back and check that to make sure it correctly patched and stitched. Because sometimes it can be misleading in terms of what it's doing. that's about it for this one. We just wanted to kind of see what you can do to combine conventional features with formed features and make your changes. And also the great part is you can always go back and change things. You can go back and edit this feature after the fact. And let's say I want to grab this ridge for some reason and pull it up. Definitely not a butter knife, but I can still go back and make those changes, and it's still one body, and I've got complete control of it at the end, which means I can turn around and 3D print this, of course, simply by clicking on our print button, unchecking Send to 3D Print Utility, and selecting our object and hitting OK. Alright, so there you go. What I want you to do just for this video is I want you to pause the video now, go back and recreate what I've done. Make the cylinder, make the solid cylinder, then make a sculpted cylinder and do some manipulations. Maybe you can get yours to actually shape a little bit better than I did into like a semi-butter knife shape. But then make sure you patch it, stitch it, and combine it together. Pause the video and do that now. Alright, one little thing I'll add to this end, one of the things you have to watch out for is the use of the shell tool. So for example, let's say that I was just thinking I was going to shell this out and shell from that end, we'll say 5. The problem is that once this thing is combined, it's going to try to shell all the way from one end to the other and give me an error. So I can't do that. What if I set it to 1? Will that work? Yeah, looks like it might. It goes through and shells it out, but that's a pretty thin wall. Don't really want that. Maybe 2. I can still make that work. Maybe 3. Pretty close. You see the outlines right there. Maybe 4. And there's the error. So I can back up and say 3.5 perhaps. And that's probably a little bit too close. Let's go back to 3. So this will work, but let's say, for example, that I actually needed to have a thicker wall than this. Well, how could I fix the problem? Well, the fix is the fact that I see right here is where the major area is when it gets too close. And by the way, I see that by having my settings on visual style changed to shaded with hidden lines so I can see internal stuff. So if I can't get 4 to work, but I need it, I need to go back and change the shape somewhat. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK and accept it, go back into my form and edit it, and I'm just going to essentially help myself out by grabbing this point and pulling it up some so it's not so tight. Finish form, we're back where we were. I right click on my shell tool, say edit feature, change it to 4, and let's see if we get it this time. Still not enough clearance, it looks like 3.5 maybe. 3.5 works, so I would need to tighten this up just down a little bit more here, which I can quick and easily do that. So hit that, go back into my form one more time, flip it over, grab this point, click up here on modify, and pull it out as well. That should give me plenty of space. Finish form, right click on my shell, edit feature, and change it to 4. Still give me an error. So there's some other type point that I'm not seeing that's causing me the issue, and I'll have to just keep checking it out. So it might be up here at the top now, or it could actually be here. But you're getting the idea. The adjustments are finding where the tight spot is and switching it out. And just be aware if the shell doesn't work, you can always back up a little bit and make some changes. So it could be there, could be this little tight zone there too. I'd find it eventually. Anyway, you don't need to do that. I just wanted to show you that for reference in case you run into that problem. We're good to go. We'll see you on the next one.